Some people waiting up front.
I ain't need no people out front. But you gonna talk to me now. Talk to my fist. Come with me, I need to take your statement. Two suspects ran down that. All you had to do was call my motherfucking name. Yeah, you gonna bend over and I'm gonna stick my size 14 up your ass. Come on.
Come on, motherfucker! Come on! Fuck you!
The story opens during what should have been a joyful birthday celebration, but it quickly turns into a horrific ordeal. Twin brothers Jacob King and Daniel are playing a simple game of hide-and-seek in the nearby woods when fate takes a dark turn. Hidden behind the trees, young Jacob watches helplessly as a stranger seizes Daniel and slashes his throat. The traumatic moment burns itself into Jacob's memory forever, shaping the hardened person he will eventually grow into. Years pass, and Jacob King has risen to become one of Memphis' most intimidating homicide detectives, a cop infamous for his ruthless tactics and no-nonsense approach to street justice. He works closely with his partner, Detective Storm Anderson, and together they hunt a vicious serial murderer the media refers to as the grifter. This killer preys on sex workers, leaving zodiac-style symbols carved into their skin as cryptic calling cards. Their investigation spirals deeper when they arrive at a grotesque crime scene downtown. A woman is tied up, and in a gruesome act of cruelty, the killer has surgically placed an active explosive inside her chest. As Jacob radios the bomb squad, he spots a calm, suspicious man watching from a nearby apartment window, Billy Joe Hill. Ignoring all procedure, Jacob charges into the building alone.
Bye here, Billy.
After a violent confrontation, Jacob forces Billy to reveal which wire will deactivate the device. Once the bomb squad confirms it is safe, Jacob loses his restraint and kicks Billy out the window. Billy survives the fall and is arrested, but the win doesn't last long. The Civil Liberties Union quickly files an appeal, claiming Jacob violated Billy's constitutional rights. Because of suppressed evidence and procedural misconduct, Billy is likely to be released. That night, Jacob returns home mentally drained. His girlfriend excitedly tells him she got accepted into the police academy, but Jacob barely acknowledges her, too consumed by the case and his obsession with stopping the grifter. Meanwhile, on a rainy street, a prostitute heading home notices a man trying to soothe a crying baby. Feeling sympathy, she approaches to help, only to discover the infant is actually a fake doll. The man attacks her, knocks her unconscious, and drags her to his hideout. There he carves astrological marks into her flesh before dumping her body back on the street. Jacob and Storm examine her remains and note a C-section scar and a moon symbol cut behind her ear. Jacob realizes the murders follow a consistent lunar pattern and orders a full review of the times of death for earlier victims. They soon identify the woman as Jessica, a part-time sex worker who frequented a bar called Mojo Blues. Before they can investigate, the captain orders everyone back to the station due to overwhelming media pressure. Jacob ignores the command and heads to the bar anyway. He questions a waitress who knew Jessica, but before she can speak, several thugs confront Jacob and threaten him.
Hey, babe, what's happening?
You got some people waiting up?
Talk to my fist.
Jacob beats them down and escorts the waitress outside, only for the group to be ambushed in a sudden shootout. Jacob eliminates the attackers moments before police arrive, unaware that a man named Lazarus has been watching him the entire time. Back at the precinct, the captain reprimands Jacob, then introduces FBI Special Agent Frank Miller, who has been assigned to the grifter case. Miller immediately scrutinizes Jacob's long record of excessive force reports. Later that night, Lazarus kills again, strangling a man and carving another symbol into his body. The corpse is discovered on the upper floor of an abandoned building the next morning. At the scene, Agent Miller tries to take charge, but Jacob dismisses her authority, mocking her lack of field experience. Later, Jacob's girlfriend and Agent Miller answer a domestic violence call involving an unstable man threatening his wife.
You didn't have to hurt him.
They manage to stop him, though the wife's behavior suggests deeper psychological problems. Back at the station, a Civil Liberties Union representative questions Jacob and Storm about Billy Joe Hill's arrest. Miller explains that the judge considers Jacob's arrest excessive and unconstitutional, witnesses refuse to cooperate, and DNA evidence is inconclusive. As a result, Billy is released. Within hours, Billy murders 3 men who gave him a ride. Jacob continues researching the Zodiac-style symbols, eventually visiting a local library. Unbeknownst to him, Billy has followed him there. A librarian explains that the symbols appear in old song lyrics and points Jacob toward a rural country club where eccentric musicians obsessed with astrology often gather. Jacob visits the club and is shocked when the barmaid casually reveals that the songwriter he's looking for, Lazarus, is standing quietly in the corner. Before Jacob can reach him, several hired thugs block his path. Jacob takes them down, but by the time he sprints outside, Lazarus is already fleeing into a nearby abandoned building. Jacob corners Lazarus, but Lazarus grabs a woman and uses her as a shield. Jacob hesitates, giving Lazarus an opening to escape. Seconds later, Lazarus ambushes him from behind, and they engage in a brutal, bare-knuckle fight. Lazarus injures Jacob's hand with deep scratches before slipping away into the night. While recovering, Jacob finds a wallet Lazarus dropped, containing a Real ID, finally linking a name and background to the killer. The next morning, Billy lures the librarian to his apartment and murders her. At the station, Jacob submits DNA from the scratches and discovers Lazarus's blood matches both Jessica's body and previous crime scene evidence, confirming him as the grifter. Jacob and Agent Miller raid Lazarus's home but find it abandoned, and discover the barmaid who helped Jacob has been killed. Jacob then pieces together the lunar cycle pattern. Each murder aligns with specific moon phases. The next phase, the waning crescent, means Lazarus will kill again tonight. Jacob matches the symbols to the constellation Adney's crown, whose star arrangement mirrors the layout of Memphis. Each star corresponds to a crime location. That evening, Jacob waits at the bar where the next murder should occur. At the same time, Agent Miller receives lab analysis showing Lazarus's DNA matches Jacob's as well. With Jacob sporting fresh scratches and no sign of Lazarus, she begins to believe the killer never existed, that Jacob fabricated him to cover his own crimes. At the bar, Lazarus suddenly appears. Jacob commands him to surrender, but Lazarus fires a shot and tries to escape. Jacob catches him and beats him brutally until police arrive to make the arrest. Jacob returns home only to find his girlfriend murdered. Billy Joe ambushes him, leading to a vicious final showdown.
Come on, motherfucker! Come on!
Jacob ultimately kills Billy by slashing his throat, avenging his girlfriend's death. When authorities arrive, they find only 2 bodies, Billy and Jacob's girlfriend, but Jacob himself has disappeared. He leaves a letter addressed to Storm. Later, Agent Miller learns the truth. Jacob had already arrested Lazarus earlier, and Lazarus confessed to framing him. The story ends with Jacob living quietly in a remote Russian village with his wife and children, finally revealing why he always kept an emotional distance from his girlfriend.